Hello, 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 and welcome to the Plurilingual Tool Kit. And I'm using a website to be able to kind of just showcase all of the work that I've done throughout this class. So I kind of want to highlight the big statement on the website, which is faith over fear. To me, faith over fear means trusting in God's promise and plan, even when faced with uncertainties and obstacles. For myself, I have faced many obstacles throughout my life, being deaf in one ear, having multiple learning disabilities, and also being an immigrant in the United States. But God has just always been with me through every uncertainty in my life and every obstacle that I have faced. And so I really just love just the big statement of faith over fear, because that's really just how I walk just day to day throughout my life. And so as you kind of scroll down throughout the website, I have a little notice here and it says click on the tabs below. So you can click on each tab and be able to see all the different work that I have showcased. So I have like the references that I use, my daily prayers, my blogs, the question and answer series reflection, picture books, which is the strategy that I got to use, the plurilingual jigsaw, the oral history, photo voice, and my story as well. So, and then also, it's really kind of fun. If you click up here, you can also see all of the different tabs as well. So it's just really nice and easy. I just like the way that it's organized, just kind of bam, right in your face. So we'll kind of start with my story. We'll just kind of click here so you see. So it's my story introduction. So I kind of included like, what is your story introduction, just what the assignment is, in different ways that someone could present it, how you could use this in the classroom. I actually got to use this in my class. I didn't use this specific assignment, but I basically created like this giant poster board. I wish I had it. It's back at school. And I ended up taking all of the different ideas that I learned throughout this assignment and incorporated it into this giant poster board that I got to share with my students. And now I'm going to have each one of my students every week make their own poster board, and then they are going to be able to share a little bit about themselves with their class. And so what does this look like? So this is my story. And we got to already, share this presentation in the class. And if you scroll down, I have a little bit more. It's my YouTube channel, just that introduces my story. So now what we could do, we can kind of do something a little bit fancy. I can click my name. And then, bam, it takes me right back to the home page. I love organization. And so now we'll click my photo voice. So what is the photo voice? And I pulled from the different ideas throughout the class, like what the photo voice is. And then just kind of gave like a little brief explanation. Again, how this can be used in the classroom. I really like this. I'm not saying I can't use this for pre-K. I'm trying to figure out how I could use photo voice for my pre-K students, because I really would love to see, what is important to them, what they're passionate about, and just kind of really build on their communication skills. I explained like what this looks like, so using the showed acronyms, and then I have my photo voice right here. And then I also, I have my little YouTube channel, and so this just goes into a little bit more explanation of why education is for everyone. So I'll kind of show you another way we can go and see different work. I can click down, and then we can let's do oral history. So this is my oral history assignment. I explained what the ethnograph is. I kind of found a scientific explanation for it. I also explained how it can be used into the classroom. My biggest thing is that this really helps create a connection. I feel like if students do this, it really forms that connection. Like teachers can really get to know them as well as other students as well. So I just kind of liked it. I really enjoyed this assignment. I love talking about myself. It's just easy. So I kind of explained what this would look like. And so then I had about 18 slides, give or take. So we just kind of goes down. So slide 1 is my story. Slide 2 is like, what does my name mean? And so I had a name change because my mom got married. So I included another slide of what my other name means. I also included my family tree on my mom's side. And then I included my family tree on my dad's side, who I actually don't know, but I was able to fill out a little bit of information. And then I included photos of all of my family members. Not all of them. I actually have other half and step siblings, but these are the ones that I mainly grew up with. So I really just wanted to showcase them. And then slide 7, this is the similarities and differences between me and my mom. And so that was really fun to do. And then I kind of just showcased my mom because I absolutely love her. She is a gem and just so incredible. So I just wanted to have a little picture slide of all of her, a little bit oral history introduction, and then I kind of answered some of the oral history questions. But then there's a video of us talking and it's really funny. She cracks me up. And then slide 11 is our cultural traditions and customs that our family practices. My family, one of our only really traditions that we practice is Christmas. I actually kind of forgot, just because it was mentioned in class today, we celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving, not American Thanksgiving. So October is a really big deal in our family because that's when we celebrate Canadian Thanksgiving. My slide 11 is how we made America a better place, defining our home culture and how it adds to value. I got to show my Prime Minister of Canada. And so it was kind of fun just learning a little bit more about Canada and America, their differences and similarities, because, I do find both countries very different from one another. So it was kind of fun for me just to be able to do a little bit of research into that. Another community that's really passionate for me is the deaf culture and community. Being hard of hearing myself, it was something that my mom really encouraged me to jump right into. And so I do know American Sign Language. Hi, my name is Alex. And so, if you want to learn sign language, you can ask me. I'd love to teach you. I incorporate sign language in my classroom. I have a couple students who are nonverbal. And so sign language has been such a useful tool just to be able to help communicate and connect with just my students, and being able to, if they don't want to speak verbally, then they can use their hands to communicate with me, which has just been really helpful and wonderful. Slide 15, I told you there was a lot of slides, so I apologize. How being bicultural and multicultural has been a strength. And so for me, I became a U.S. citizen last year. And so now the American culture is really, adapted into who I am as well as the Canadian, culture as well too. Canada, we're just so multicultural. And there's just so many different influences that, I was surrounded by, growing up. And then America just has a very different influence as well too. So it's kind of really cool just to be able to kind of compare both countries and just see, both of the wonderful things that both Canada and America have added into my own life. So 16, how do you contribute to America? I will say I found this question very hard to answer. I love to say that I do contribute, but, I just feel for me, just with my own, Christian beliefs and values, I just want to walk in Jesus, light, and just being able to help other people. So anything that I do to contribute, it's not really me, it comes from God. And so I did find this question a little bit challenging to answer, just because I think my contributions are not just for me, it also is from God. And then I just included my YouTube channel, again, just a video kind of going over my story of resilience. If you'd like to watch it, you can. We're gonna go, ready? Boom, back to the homepage. And so I'm having too much fun with this. Now we're going to my plurilingual jigsaw puzzle. I will say that word was very challenging for me to say before I started this course. So what is plurilingual jigsaw puzzle? I kind of answered that question here. And I included different approaches that you could pick from for it. The approach that I chose was picture books. I also included in the website how this can be used in the classroom and also what this would look like. And so there's 6 slides for this one, not as many as the other one, but this is my introduction to the strategy, which is picture books. These are just some of our favorite picture books. I love Eric Carle. I actually dedicate an entire week to him in my classroom. I have earrings for him as well too, with the Very Hungry Caterpillar. I love his books. There's so many incredible songs from his books that I incorporate. The pictures are just so wonderful, and my students just really enjoy it. So it's just been something that, I really do. We do a Dr. Seuss week. We do an Eric Carr week. I'll do the Berenstain Bear family week as well too. And so I just love showcasing books. I love, 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 love books. And so one of my favorite books, which I'll kind of talk about in my strategy, so it's American Sign Language books. So for me growing up, I never saw a book that had sign language in it. It was something that I always really wanted because, I was learning it. And it wasn't until I became an adult where I actually was given my first American Sign Language picture book. And so after that, I started really looking and researching, different sign language books. And so one that I've really found that I've loved is called my Monster Truck book. And so my students can read this book because they can sign with it. This is how we say monster truck. And so it's really fun because it kind of goes into different sentence structures throughout this book as well too. So it goes like my big purple, like monster truck. And so if you haven't read this story, if you do not own it, I highly suggest buying it. So I kind of explain the picture book strategy, what it is, and then we go into how teachers can use it in the classroom and the importance of picture books. And then we also go into how might a student use it. And so, picture books just are filled with so much illustrations and visuals, and just really is a great way for students just to be able to, develop social emotionally, behaviorally. This week has been a really challenging week for me personally at work. We've been having just a lot of behaviorals. And so I decided this entire week to really focus on emotions and feelings. And so I used different books. And so today we talked about anger and what that means and the word mad. And I used books to kind of help my students really dive a little bit deeper into that emotion and just to be able to help them identify okay, if I'm feeling this way, what are the best tools that I could use to be able to tell my teacher, to be able to calm my body down, and to be able to enter back into play in a positive way. And then we just end it with our resources. So what's next is the actual picture book. So I kind of just go into a little bit more in depth about what the strategy is for picture books. Again, I really feel like picture books just build on vocabulary, it bridges the language gaps for students, and it supports their academic learning standards. And then another part is how might a teacher use it in the classroom? How might a student use it to learn? And then my favorite picture books. Okay, I actually have too many favorite picture books. And so I just chose kind of the ones that really jumped out at me right away. So the Color Monster is really fun. I love talking about feelings and emotions. I will say with my age group, I have a lot of 4s and 5s. We have big emotions at school, constantly and all the time. And I love being able to help my students to identify their feelings and then finding the best way to be able to explain it to me. So, one of my students last year was like, Miss Florent, I'm feeling really blue today. And that was able to tell me, rather than saying, hey, I feel sad, was like saying blue means they're feeling sad. And so I just like being able to incorporate different books as well too, because it really just helps me be able to, kind of just build that language, help bridge that language gap between my students and I. Another one of my favorite books is Where the Wild Things Are. I have a whole dance to it that I do with my kids, and it's really, really fun. I don't know if they have that dance on YouTube, but there's a whole Wild Things dance that we do and a song. And also, I really, again, Eric Carle, just one of my favorite authors. The Very Hungry Caterpillar, I love it. There's so many lessons that you can go just based off of his books. So it's really fun to use. And then I'll go into the questions and answers for the book. And so what did you learn from your own strategy? And so there's a lot of questions. And so I kind of just went, I really liked the self-reflection. And the professor had mentioned it in the Zoom meeting today, but this really helped me for myself, reflect on who I am as a teacher and how do I want to be. And 3 words that I've always really, I felt connected with, even before I started teaching, was connection, community, and compassion. And so I kind of liked being able to read the textbook again, and then I'm like, okay, well, how do I incorporate this as a teacher? And so compassion really for me is such a big word, because I want to be able to create that meaningful learning environment. So that was really fun just to have that own self-reflection as well too, and just being able to incorporate what I've learned. And I like the last question, how have you grown in love, wisdom, and calling? And so, I really felt that there was a Bible verse that kind of just jumped out with me when I had read that, was, for the Lord gives wisdom, from his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. And so, we could be the wisest person in the entire world, but if we don't have Christ, everything that comes out of our mouth to me just doesn't really have meaning. And so I really feel that Lord is the one who gives us wisdom. And so I like to kind of just incorporate that. I also included another one, just some of my vlogs. I kind of thought that we were supposed to, at the beginning of the class, that we were supposed to verbally answer the textbook questions. So I just posted the ones that I had done already. I also included my daily prayers that I do every single day before school. So one of mine is I like to remind myself that children are a wonderful blessing, and I have a Bible verse that's attached to that. I also remind myself every day that parents are God's shepherds for their children. You know, parents are their child's first teacher, and so I really need to remember in order to build that community in my classroom, I have to partner with my students' parents. And God chose us and placed us in his family. And so just to remember that every one of my students is a child of God, and to be able to walk every single day using the fruits of love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, gentleness, faithfulness, and self-control, just taking that with me every single day, just being able to, see my students for who they are, and just being able to love them the way that God intended me to. And then last bit is just the references, just using the textbook. And then I also included where I got the definition from. But if you have not really dove into this textbook, I really highly suggest it. I'm definitely keeping it, because there's just so many tools and resources, just a part of the textbook that I found super helpful. And then I actually had it right here, and you can see it on each page. It was just a Bible verse. I can even show you. We'll go back. And then you can see it. I love Bible verses, but this one is, For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope in a future. And so, this is one of my favorite Bible verses. I actually even have it right here, my little rock. And so, I feel like just starting your day, diving into the Word of God is just one of the most, important things that we can do. So thank you so much for taking the time to look at my website. I hope you guys find this really helpful when you're creating your own website. And I am excited to see you guys next week in class.